look especially like I could catch men today? I know. But since I'm looking all like I could catch some men, I thought I would talk to you about the man I'd never catch. I'm going to tell you about this guy that I go to college with, but I don't go to college with anymore because he graduated. I think. We're going to call him Mark Johnson. Okay. But that's not his real name, because I know if I told you his real name, you would try to stalk him. Or you would just find out where he went to school and try to stalk me. Creepy stalker. Basically, I have compiled a list of things that I would tweet about Mark Johnson, but didn't, because boy has a Twitter. I also want to give a warning before I read these tweets that they're like, some of them are those kind of creepy sense of humor. I'm not really creepy though. I'm not a stalker. Today, Mark Johnson hit my car while driving, but he left his number in the apology note, so score. I was going to say that Mark Johnson will probably eventually regret leaving his number, but I imagine he's been regretting that since the first time I called him at 3 in the morning. After Mark Johnson hit my car, I had to buy a new one. Not because any damage was done, but I put my old one in my Mark Johnson shrine. One time, Mark Johnson sat next to me in Spanish. The entire class period, all I was able to say was, "A mí me gusta, a mí me gusta." What did I do with the note that Mark Johnson left on my car, you ask? I don't know, but I definitely did not laminate it, and I definitely don't sleep with it under my pillow. One time I dropped a pen in front of Mark Johnson in Spanish class. I determined the only solution was to pretend it didn't happen, so I never picked up the pen, and I just didn't take notes for the rest of the lecture. One time, Mark Johnson sat behind me during a Spanish test. I was too distracted to think. That said, I did surprisingly well on that test. Who would have thought a lot of the answers were actually doodles of hearts? One time, Mark Johnson and I went to the same restaurant. My friends say it doesn't count, but that's not going to stop me from saying I went to dinner with him. One time, I saw Mark Johnson in the library. Don't worry, I know how to handle situations like that, so I proceeded to follow him around for 13 minutes. Today, I accidentally ran into Mark Johnson. It was the best 2 seconds of my life. One time, I passed Mark Johnson in the hallway. Don't worry, I know how to handle situations like that. So I started to say, "Hi," but just stared at my feet instead. Oh my goodness. I have this crippling fear that somehow someone will watch this video and then know who I'm talking about and then show this guy that I made this video, and then he'll be like, "You're so weird," and I'll be like, "I'm sorry, I just was trying to be funny." On the bright side, a lot of the situations I talked about were fictitious, so it might not even seem like I'm talking about him.
Hey, I look like shit today. Do you want to watch another episode of Merlin?
Yep.
Okay.